Wow. Wow. Just wow. What's up, guys? I'm back here for another video today, and today we're going to be talking about a film that came out a couple months back, and that film is Stronger. So Stronger is directed by David Gordon Green, and it is produced and starred with Jake Gyllenhaal. And this film opens up with Jeff Bauman and his girlfriend, and he is a supporter of her. So he decides to attend the race that she's running in, which is the Boston Marathon. So he decides to go and he waits for her at the end of the finish line. But unfortunately, he loses his legs from the Boston Bombers. So throughout the film, we see what happens to Jeff and what struggles he currently has to deal with for basically the rest of his life with losing his legs, and he's overcoming a big adversity. And Jeff learns to become a stronger person from this experience, and he learns that with Boston strong, a whole city is behind his back. And before I wanted to talk about this film, I just wanted to address that this is the second Boston bombing film that's come out in the past 2 years. First we had Patriots Day starring Mark Wahlberg, and now we have Jake Gyllenhaal starring as Jeff Bauman in this film Stronger. And my intent is not to trigger anyone by any means, because I know a lot of you guys and a lot of people in general, they just don't think that movies like this should be made. But I totally disagree. I mean, I have no problem whatsoever with films being made about like stuff like Boston bombings, and I'll tell you why. So these films, they're not being made just to make a quick buck and make some money at the box office and show off your A-list Hollywood stars. These movies are meant to show how in tough situations, tough tragedies, about how people come together in these tough events, and they come together either as a family or as a whole city, for example, with Boston Strong. And it just wants to give you a message on, yes, obviously these are tragedies, but it's real life situations, and it's showing how people deal with them and how people come together as a whole, and it's really empowering. And awareness like this should be spread for like how tough these situations are, because for example with Jeff Bauman in this film, he's kind of questioned on why people look at him as a hero and this inspirational human being, and he's kind of wondering on why people look at him like that after this. But it just shows how like a whole city can get behind your back and support you and show how strong of a person you are for fighting through no matter what kind of condition you are, because people go through this stuff every day with either losing their legs or losing a piece of their body or even dying. And I mean, a lot of this stuff has to dealing with coping mechanisms and get through tough situations like this. And obviously with films based on true stories, you kind of want to get the most information, the best information possible. And with this movie, it definitely did, because for one, Jake Gyllenhaal, he produced it, and there was a good interview that I watched on YouTube the other day. It's called like an Actors on Actors series, and it was with Jake Gyllenhaal and Margot Robbie, and he was talking about how like good it felt to produce this movie and star in it. And he was talking about how producers don't get enough credit and how he developed a good relationship with Jeff Bauman. So I would imagine like out of all the stuff that happens in this film, it's in there for a reason. In that interview, it's a pretty good interview with Margot Robbie and Jake Gyllenhaal. I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. But guys, this is a really, really, really inspirational and empowering film to watch. It made me think, because I mean, most people in the world every single day, almost like every hour with some people an instant, they get either annoyed with something or get angered or triggered by a little thing. But oh my god, I'm getting goosebumps. But this movie, it just makes you look at life in a different perspective of how lucky and fortunate you are to be living with all the grateful things in your life. And people like Jeff Bauman, oh my god, he's just such a strong person with getting through tough situations like this. And realistically, it kind of made me feel like a wimp, like not in like a horrible way, but in a wimp that made me feel like I definitely can do better than that. I have to look at the world in a whole different perspective from now on, and I do. And as I mentioned earlier, we see like as a city of the whole city of Boston, they come together in this tough situation, and they support Jeff. Like they invite him to like Fenway Park, to the TD Garden to watch the Boston Bruins, because he is this inspirational hero that so much people look at and such a powerful mannered way. And one more thing before I give out my grade. This film has a very, very great cast in it. But most importantly, Jake Gyllenhaal. I think I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I love Jake Gyllenhaal and I think he's a phenomenal actor and one of the best ever. And yeah, I don't think he's ever won an Oscar, which is kind of sad to say, but I know he still probably won't win one for this movie, but honestly, this performance by Jake Gyllenhaal as this role in Jeff Bauman with losing his legs, it brought tears to my eyes in a bunch of times in this film. And even, I'm a man of my word, when I watched the trailer, I legit teared up too. He just gives this such a phenomenal performance, and it absolutely blew me away. One of the best I've ever seen. And for people like Jake Gyllenhaal, he can probably care less if he doesn't win an Oscar for this film, but he's such a great actor, and his performance in this is just so breathtaking. And when I saw the trailer for this film and how emotional I got, I just knew it was going to be such a great film. And guys, so this was one of my most anticipated of the mid-year when I was looking at what's coming out later in the year. Stronger was one of my most anticipated films that I was going to watch. And with all that said, I am going to give Stronger an A+. Now, I don't really give too much films A+s on my channel, but what a film needs to do to get an A+, it needs to be great, obviously, but it needs to move me in such a way. It needs to bring something to the table that I'm not used to seeing before. In other words, A+ movies need to take risk for me, and they need to succeed at them. And this film does everything great, plus more. I adored it. And kind of on a side note, I've been in Boston tons of times. I've never been to the Boston Marathon. That is a goal to go to in my life, to just, I don't even know if I would run in it, just watch the beauty of it happening. And the Red Sox playing later that day. And I love the city in Boston. I've been to Patriot games, Celtics games, Red Sox games. I've walked down the streets of it. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I like this movie so much, is because I feel so connected with the Boston Straw movement, with the city of Boston, and it really touched me. And now guys, I really did enjoy this film. And now the biggest question here today, did you guys watch the film? If you didn't, I do recommend seeing it. And if you guys enjoyed this video, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, so that way you can see me next time. Thanks for watching.